The billionaire spent 3 years believing his triplets were trapped in darkness until a homeless man stepped into their path and revealed a truth even the world's top doctors had missed. Ryan Sullivan stood in the nursery, watching his 3 daughters stumble into the same wall for the 5th time that morning. Sophie hit first, then Clara, then Lila, one after another, like dominoes made of flesh and confusion. They were laughing. He wasn't. Before we continue, let us know in the comments what time it is and where you're watching from. The triplets had been born into shadows before they even knew what shadows were. 3 tiny girls, identical, fragile, wrapped in hospital blankets. They opened their eyes for the first time and saw nothing. Not darkness. Nothing. They didn't track light. They didn't flinch when a nurse waved her hand in front of their faces. They didn't blink when the doctor shined a pen light directly into their pupils. Ryan watched it all happen. He watched the nurses exchange glances. He watched the pediatrician's face fall. He watched his wife, Emily, crumble in the hospital bed, sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe. "Mr. Sullivan," the doctor said quietly, "we need to run more tests." More tests, more waiting, more hoping for something that wasn't coming. The tests came back 2 weeks later. Congenital cataracts, optic nerve hypoplasia, permanent damage. "They'll never see," the doctor said. Emily stopped eating. She stopped talking. She stopped being a mother. 3 months later, she was gone. Not dead, just gone. She couldn't handle it. She packed a bag one night while Ryan was asleep and left a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm sorry. I can't do this." Ryan crumpled the note and threw it in the trash. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just walked into the nursery and looked at his daughters sleeping in their cribs. Sophie, Clara, Lila. 3 perfect little girls who would never see his face. He made a promise that night. He would fix this. No matter what it cost, no matter how long it took, he would find a way. Ryan Sullivan wasn't just rich. He was obscenely rich. His hedge fund managed over $12 billion. He had homes in Manhattan, Beverly Hills, and Miami. He owned a private jet. He had connections to every major hospital in the country. Money could buy anything. Right? Wrong. The first specialist he consulted was Dr. Raymond Chen in Los Angeles, top pediatric ophthalmologist in California. Published over 200 papers, trained at Johns Hopkins. Dr. Chen examined the girls for 3 hours. He ran every test in the book: fundoscopy, optical coherence tomography, visual evoked potentials. "I'm sorry, Mr. Sullivan," Dr. Chen said. "The optic nerve damage is too severe. Even with surgery, the likelihood of vision restoration is less than 5%. I wouldn't recommend putting them through that." Ryan flew to New York next. Dr. Patricia Morales, Columbia University, 30 years of experience. Same answer. Then Houston, Dr. James Whitfield, Baylor College of Medicine, world-renowned retinal specialist. Same answer. Then Boston, Dr. Sarah Kim, Harvard Medical School. Same answer. Every single doctor told him the same thing: permanent, irreversible, hopeless. Ryan started drinking. Not heavily. Just enough to sleep. Just enough to stop seeing his daughter's blank stares every time he closed his eyes. The girls were growing, walking, talking. They learned to navigate the penthouse apartment by memory. Sophie always turned left at the kitchen. Clara always counted 12 steps to the bathroom. Lila always dragged her hand along the wall. They adapted. Ryan didn't. He couldn't watch them bump into furniture anymore. He couldn't watch them reach for toys they couldn't see. He couldn't watch them smile at him without knowing what he looked like. He hired a team of nannies. Round-the-clock care, the best money could buy. But every night, he sat in their room and read them stories they couldn't visualize. "Daddy," Sophie said one night, "what does blue look like?" Ryan's throat closed. He couldn't answer. "It's like—" He stopped. "How do you explain color to someone who's never seen light?" "It's like how music sounds," he finally said. "But for your eyes." Sophie smiled. "I like music." Ryan kissed her forehead and left the room before she could see him cry. 3 years passed. The girls turned 4. They were happy, curious, loving. But Ryan wasn't. He was drowning in guilt, drowning in failure, drowning in the knowledge that all his wealth, all his power, all his connections couldn't save his daughters. He stopped going to work. He stopped answering calls. He stopped pretending everything was fine. One morning, his assistant knocked on his door. "Mr. Sullivan, you have a meeting in an hour. Cancel it." "Sir, it's with the board. They're threatening to—" "I said cancel it." She left. Ryan sat on the couch and stared at the wall. The triplets were in the playroom with their nanny. He could hear them laughing, always laughing. They didn't know what they were missing, but he did, and it was killing him. That afternoon, Ryan made a decision. He would take the girls out, get some air, stop hiding in the penthouse like a coward. He bundled them up in jackets and scarves and took them to Central Park. It was freezing. The sky was gray. The wind cut through his coat. But the girls loved it. They ran ahead, holding hands, giggling as they stumbled over uneven pavement. Ryan watched them. His heart ached. And that's when he saw the old man, sitting by the fountain, ragged clothes, hollow cheeks, scribbling in a tattered notebook. The man looked up. Their eyes met, and everything changed. If you've made it this far, you already feel it. Something big is about to happen. A billionaire who's tried everything. 3 daughters trapped in darkness. And now, a mysterious stranger in Central Park who's about to flip this entire story upside down. Here's the truth. Only 1% of people who watch these stories actually subscribe. If you're in that 99%, do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Because what this old man is about to reveal will shake Ryan's world to its core. And you don't want to miss a single second. Your subscription keeps these life-changing stories coming. Thank you. Now let's see who this stranger really is. The homeless man spoke 6 words that shattered everything Ryan thought he knew. You should look closer at their retinal reflexes. Ryan froze. His daughters were 10 feet away, playing near the fountain, and the old man was staring directly at them. Not at Ryan, at the girls. "What did you say?" Ryan's voice came out sharp, defensive. The man didn't flinch. He just closed his notebook and stood up slowly. His joints cracked. His coat was 3 sizes too big. His shoes had holes in them. "Your daughters," the man said calmly. "They're not completely blind." Ryan's chest tightened. Anger flared hot and fast. "Who the hell are you?" "Someone who knows what they're looking at." Ryan stepped forward. "You don't know anything about my daughters. You're just some homeless man." The stranger smiled sadly. "You're right, I am. But I wasn't always." Ryan stopped. Something in the man's voice made him pause. It wasn't the voice of someone begging for change. It was steady, educated, calm. "What do you want?" Ryan asked. "Nothing. I just want to help." "Help? You think you can help?" Ryan laughed bitterly. "I've spent 3 years flying my daughters to every top specialist in the country. Los Angeles, New York, Houston, Boston, Miami. Do you know how much money I've spent? Do you know how many doctors have examined them? And yet, the man said quietly, they all missed it. Ryan's jaw clenched. Missed what? The man stepped closer. Ryan could smell old coffee and unwashed clothes. But the man's eyes were clear, sharp, focused. I need to examine them, the man said. Just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. You're insane. Maybe. But what if I'm not? Ryan looked at his daughters. Sophie was laughing. Clara was spinning in circles. Lila was clapping her hands. They had no idea a stranger was talking about them. They had no idea their father was standing on the edge of something he didn't understand. Who are you? Ryan asked again. The man hesitated. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out a faded ID badge. The plastic was cracked. The photo was old. But Ryan could read the name clearly. Dr. Elena Novak, Pediatric Ophthalmology, Mount Sinai Hospital. Ryan stared at the badge, then at the man, then back at the badge. You're a woman, Ryan said slowly. Elena smiled. I am. Ryan's mind spun. The ragged clothes, the hollow cheeks, the beard shadow that wasn't a beard at all but dirt and exhaustion. He had assumed. He had judged. He had been completely wrong. You're a doctor, Ryan whispered. Was, Elena corrected. I haven't practiced in 8 years. Why not? Elena's face darkened. That's not important right now. What's important is your daughters. Ryan looked at the ID badge again. Mount Sinai, one of the best hospitals in New York. If she had worked there, she was legitimate, or at least she had been. Why should I trust you? Ryan asked. You shouldn't, Elena said simply. But you're desperate, and desperation makes people do things they wouldn't normally do, like listen to a homeless woman in Central Park. Ryan hated that she was right. 5 minutes, Elena said. That's all I need. If I'm wrong, you walk away. If I'm right, your daughters might have a chance. Ryan's heart pounded. Every instinct screamed at him to grab his daughters and leave. This was insane. This was reckless. This was... Fine, Ryan said. 5 minutes. Elena nodded. She walked over to the girls slowly. Ryan followed close behind, ready to intervene if anything felt wrong. Hello, Elena said softly. My name is Elena. What are your names? I'm Sophie, Sophie said brightly. This is Clara, and that's Lila. It's nice to meet you, Elena said. She crouched down to their level. Can I play a game with you? The girls nodded eagerly. Elena reached into her coat and pulled out a small flashlight. Ryan tensed. Where did a homeless woman get a flashlight? I'm going to shine a light, Elena said gently. It won't hurt. I just want to see something, okay? Okay, Sophie said. Elena clicked the flashlight on. She held it 6 inches from Sophie's face and moved it slowly from left to right. She watched Sophie's eyes carefully. Then she did the same with Clara. Then Lila. Ryan watched, confused. Every doctor had done this test. Every single one. When what was Elena seeing that they hadn't? Elena clicked the flashlight off. She stood up slowly and walked back to Ryan. Well? Ryan demanded. Elena looked at him seriously. Your daughters have congenital cataracts. That much is obvious. But the doctors were wrong about the optic nerve. Ryan's breath caught. What do you mean? The optic nerve isn't dead, Elena said. It's underdeveloped. There's a difference. I saw subtle pupillary responses in all 3 girls, very faint. But they're there. That means the nerve is partially functional. Ryan's head spun. But every doctor said... Every doctor was afraid, Elena interrupted. They saw the cataracts, and stopped looking. They didn't want to give you false hope. They didn't want to risk a lawsuit if surgery failed. So they told you what was safest for them, not what was true. Ryan's hands trembled. Are you saying they can be cured? I'm saying there's a chance, Elena said carefully. A real chance. But it would require surgery, precise surgery, and it would have to be done soon. The longer we wait, the more the optic nerve atrophies. Ryan's mind raced. Hope and fear collided in his chest. What kind of surgery? Phacoemulsification, Elena said. Cataract removal, but not just removal. The lens replacement has to be perfect, and we'd need to monitor the retinal response throughout the procedure. One mistake and we could cause more damage. Ryan stared at her. Can you do it? Elena hesitated. I haven't operated in 8 years. That's not what I asked. Elena met his eyes. Yes, I can do it. Ryan looked at his daughters. They were laughing again, playing again, living in darkness. He looked back at Elena. A homeless woman, a former doctor, a stranger. Why are you helping us? Ryan asked. Elena's expression softened. Pain flickered across her face. Because I couldn't save my own daughter, she whispered. And in that moment, Ryan believed her. Elena's daughter had died blind, and she had spent 8 years living on the streets because saving her own child was the one surgery she couldn't perform. Ryan stood frozen. The wind cut through Central Park, but he didn't feel it. Elena's words hung in the air like smoke. Your daughter, Ryan said quietly. What happened? Elena looked away. Her jaw tightened. Not here. Not now. If I'm going to trust you with my daughter's lives, I need to know. Elena closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were wet. Her name was Mira. She was 6 years old. Same condition as your girls. Congenital cataracts, optic nerve hypoplasia. I was chief of pediatric ophthalmology at Mount Sinai. I had performed over 300 surgeries. But when it was my own daughter, her voice cracked. I froze, Elena whispered. I couldn't do it. I was too afraid. So I brought in another surgeon, someone I trusted, someone with more experience. And he made one mistake, one miscalculation during the phacoemulsification. The ultrasound probe went too deep. It damaged the retina. Mira went from partial blindness to complete blindness in 20 minutes. Ryan's stomach dropped. She died 2 years later, Elena continued. Meningitis, but she died in total darkness, and it was my fault. I could have saved her vision, but I was too scared to try. It is my fault, Elena said firmly, and I let fear control me. I let protocol and liability and hospital bureaucracy dictate my choices, and my daughter paid the price, so I left. I walked away from medicine. I walked away from my husband. I walked away from everything, because I didn't deserve any of it. Ryan stared at her. This woman had lost everything, her career, her family, her daughter, and now she was living on the streets, carrying a flashlight and a tattered ID badge, offering to save 3 children she had never met. Why now? Ryan asked. Why help us? Elena looked at Sophie, Clara, and Lila playing by the fountain. Because I can't save Mira, but maybe I can save them. Ryan's chest tightened. He wanted to believe her. God, he wanted to believe her. But trusting a homeless woman with his daughter's eyes felt like jumping off a cliff. I need proof, Ryan said. I need to know you're not just crazy, Elena finished. I don't blame you. If I were you, I wouldn't trust me either. She reached into her coat and pulled out the tattered notebook Ryan had seen earlier. She handed it to him. Read it. Ryan opened the notebook. The pages were filled with medical notes, diagrams, surgical techniques, case studies, all written in precise, detailed handwriting. Page after page of pediatric ophthalmology research, treatment protocols, post-surgical care instructions. It was the work of someone who lived and breathed this field. "I never stopped studying," Elena said quietly. "Even after I lost everything. I kept learning, kept researching, because walking away from the hospital didn't mean I stopped being a doctor. It just meant I stopped practicing." Ryan flipped through the pages. His hands shook. This wasn't the notebook of a random homeless woman. This was the notebook of someone who still cared, someone who still fought, someone who refused to give up. "If I agree to this," Ryan said slowly, "where would you even perform the surgery? You can't just walk into a hospital." "No," Elena agreed. "But you can." Ryan frowned. "What do you mean?" "You're a billionaire," Elena said. "You have connections, resources, money. You can rent a private surgical suite, hire an anesthesiologist, get the equipment we need. I'll do the surgery, but I can't do it alone." Ryan's mind spun. She was right. He could make it happen. He could bypass the hospitals that had failed him. He could take control. But if it went wrong? "What if you fail?" Ryan asked bluntly. What if you make the same mistake that surgeon made with your daughter?" Elena didn't hesitate. "Then I fail, and your daughters stay blind. But at least we tried. At least we didn't let fear win." Ryan looked at his daughters again. They were holding hands, singing a song their nanny had taught them. They didn't know their father was standing 10 feet away, deciding their future. "I need time," Ryan said. "I need to think about this." "You don't have time," Elena said. "The longer we wait, the more the optic nerve deteriorates. If we don't act soon, the chance we have now will be gone." Ryan's jaw clenched. "How soon?" 2 weeks, maybe 3. After that, the nerve will atrophy too much. Surgery won't help." Ryan felt the weight of the decision crushing him. 2 weeks, 3 at most. He had spent 3 years searching for answers, and now a homeless woman was telling him he had 2 weeks to decide if he believed her. "Why didn't any other doctors see this?" Ryan demanded. "Why didn't Dr. Chen see it? Or Dr. Morales? Or any of the specialists I paid millions to consult?" Elena's expression hardened. "Because they weren't looking. They saw the cataracts and assumed the worst. They didn't want to take the risk. They didn't want to deal with the liability. So they told you what was easiest for them, not what was true." Ryan's anger flared. "They lied to me?" "They protected themselves," Elena corrected. "That's what the system does. It protects doctors. It protects hospitals. It doesn't protect patients. Your daughters fell through the cracks because no one wanted to be responsible if something went wrong." Ryan's fists clenched. 3 years. 3 years of trusting the system. 3 years of believing the experts. 3 years of watching his daughters live in darkness because doctors were too afraid to try. "If I do this," Ryan said, his voice low and dangerous, "and you're lying to me." "I'm not lying," Elena said calmly. "But if you don't believe me, walk away. Go home. Keep searching for another doctor. Keep hoping someone else will save them. But we both know how that story ends." Ryan stared at her. She was right. He had already tried everything else, every hospital, every specialist, every treatment, and none of it had worked. This was his last chance. "Where do we start?" Ryan asked. Elena smiled. "Miami." Ryan had 48 hours to rent a surgical suite in Miami, hire a team that wouldn't ask questions, and convince himself he wasn't making the biggest mistake of his life. He didn't sleep that night. He sat in his penthouse office with his laptop open, making calls, sending emails, pulling strings. Elena had given him a list of equipment: phacoemulsification machine, surgical microscope, intraocular lenses, monitoring equipment, anesthesia supplies. The list was long. The cost didn't matter. By sunrise, Ryan had secured a private surgical suite in Coral Gables, a facility that catered to wealthy clients who valued discretion. No questions asked, no records kept. Cash only. Perfect. The anesthesiologist was harder to find. Most wouldn't work outside a hospital. Too much liability, too much risk. But Ryan finally found one. Dr. Marcus Rivera, former military medic, worked private contracts now. He didn't care who performed the surgery as long as he got paid. Ryan wired him $50,000. Elena arrived at the penthouse the next morning. Ryan had sent a car for her. She walked in wearing the same ragged clothes, carrying the same tattered notebook. But her eyes were focused, determined. "We leave tomorrow," Ryan said. "I've arranged everything. The suite, the equipment, the anesthesiologist. It's all waiting in Miami." Elena nodded. "Good. We'll need to prep the girls tonight. No food after midnight. Clear liquids only until 6 hours before surgery. I'll need to examine them again. Make sure nothing has changed." Ryan's chest tightened. "When do we tell them?" "Tonight," Elena said. "They need to know what's happening. They need to be prepared." Ryan's throat closed. How do you tell your 4-year-old daughters they're about to undergo surgery that could either give them sight or leave them worse than before? That evening, Ryan sat the triplets down in the living room. Elena sat beside him. The girls sensed something was wrong. They were quiet, tense. "Girls," Ryan said gently, "we need to talk about something important." Sophie reached for his hand. "Are we in trouble, Daddy?" "No, sweetheart, you're not in trouble. But we're going on a trip to Miami. And while we're there, Dr. Elena is going to do something very special." "What kind of special?" Clara asked. Ryan looked at Elena. She took over. "You know how you can't see right now?" Elena said softly. "How everything is dark?" The girls nodded. "Well, I think I can fix that. I think I can help you see." Lila's head tilted. "You see what?" "Everything," Elena said. "Colors, shapes, your daddy's face, the sky, flowers, everything." Sophie's voice trembled. "Will it hurt?" Elena didn't lie. "A little, but you'll be asleep. And when you wake up, things might be different." "Different how?" Clara asked. "You might be able to see light," Elena said carefully. "Maybe more, maybe less. But we won't know until we try." Ryan watched his daughters process the information. They were scared. He could see it in their faces. But they were also hopeful. And that hope was the most terrifying thing of all. "Do we have to?" Lila whispered. Ryan's heart broke. "No, baby, you don't have to. If you don't want to do this, we won't. But if we don't try, things will stay the same. You'll stay in the dark." Sophie squeezed his hand. "Will you be there?" "Every second," Ryan promised. "I won't leave you." The girls looked at each other. Some silent communication passed between them. Then Sophie nodded. "Okay," she said. "We'll try." Ryan pulled them into a hug. His eyes burned. Elena looked away. They flew to Miami the next morning. Private jet. Ryan had brought the nanny, but she didn't know why they were going. She thought it was a vacation. Ryan didn't correct her. The surgical suite was exactly as promised. Clean, modern, fully equipped. Dr. Rivera was already there, prepping the anesthesia. He nodded at Ryan, but didn't ask questions. Elena walked through the suite, checking equipment. She tested the phacoemulsification machine, adjusted the surgical microscope, inspected the intraocular lenses. She moved with precision, confidence. Ryan watched her. This woman had been living on the streets 2 days ago, and now she was preparing to perform surgery on his daughters. It felt surreal, insane, but he was here, and there was no turning back. "We'll start with Sophie," Elena said. "Then Clara, then Lila. Each surgery will take about 90 minutes, maybe longer if there are complications." "Complications?" Ryan's voice cracked. Elena looked at him seriously. "There are always risks: infection, bleeding, retinal detachment. If the probe goes too deep, it could cause permanent damage. If the lens placement is off by even a millimeter, vision could be distorted. This is delicate work, Ryan. I need you to understand that." Ryan's hands shook. "What's the success rate?" "For a surgeon with experience? 80%. For me? I don't know. I haven't operated in 8 years. Ryan wanted to run. He wanted to grab his daughters and leave. But Elena's eyes held him in place. "I won't lie to you," Elena said. "This could go wrong, but if we don't try, your daughters will never see. And I refuse to let fear win again. Not this time." Ryan nodded slowly. "Okay, let's do it." They brought Sophie in first. She was crying. Ryan held her hand as Dr. Rivera placed the anesthesia mask over her face. "Count backwards from 10, sweetheart," Dr. Rivera said gently. 10, 9, 8. Sophie's voice faded. Her body went limp. Ryan's chest collapsed. Elena placed a hand on his shoulder. "Go wait outside," she said. "I'll come get you when it's done." Ryan didn't move. "Ryan," Elena said firmly, "you can't be in here. I need to focus, and I can't focus if you're watching." Ryan kissed Sophie's forehead. Then he walked out. The door closed behind him, and the waiting began. 90 minutes felt like 90 hours. Ryan paced. He checked his phone. He stared at the door. Dr. Rivera came out once to update him. "Surgery's going well. No complications so far." Ryan nodded. He couldn't speak. Finally, the door opened. Elena stepped out. Her surgical mask was down. Her face was exhausted, but she was smiling. "It's done," she said. "Sophie's stable. The cataract is out. The lens is in place. Now we wait." Ryan's legs almost gave out. "Did it work?" "We won't know until the bandages come off," Elena said. But her retinal response during surgery was positive. That's a good sign. Ryan exhaled. 1 down. 2 to go. Clara was next. Then Lila. By the time all 3 surgeries were complete, it was past midnight. Ryan was a wreck. Elena looked like she might collapse, but it was done. The triplets were in recovery, and bandages over their eyes, sleeping peacefully. Ryan sat between their beds, holding their hands. And he prayed. The bandages would come off in 72 hours, and Ryan Sullivan realized that 3 days could feel longer than 3 years. The first night was the worst. Sophie woke up screaming. The bandages were tight. Her eyes hurt. She didn't understand why she couldn't touch her face. "Daddy, it hurts," she cried. "Make it stop." Ryan held her, helpless. Elena rushed in with pain medication. She adjusted the bandages, checked for swelling, monitored for infection. "It's normal," Elena said calmly. "The pain will subside. She just needs to rest." But Sophie wouldn't rest. She thrashed. She cried. She begged Ryan to take the bandages off. "Please, Daddy, please, I don't like this." Ryan's heart shattered. He looked at Elena desperately. "Can't we give her something stronger?" "Not yet," Elena said. "Too much medication could affect her healing. She needs to push through this." Ryan wanted to scream. He wanted to tear the bandages off himself. He wanted to undo everything. But it was too late. The surgery was done. The only way out was forward. Clara woke up next. Then Lila. All three girls were in pain. All three were scared. All three wanted the bandages off. Ryan didn't sleep. He sat between their beds, holding their hands, whispering promises he wasn't sure he could keep. "It's going to be okay. I promise. Just a few more days." Elena stayed too. She checked on them every hour. Temperature, blood pressure, eye pressure. She was meticulous, obsessive. She wouldn't leave the suite. "You should rest," Ryan said. "I'll rest when they're healed," Elena replied. Ryan saw the guilt in her eyes. She was terrified. Terrified she had made the same mistake twice. Terrified she had failed again. "Elena," Ryan said quietly, "you did everything right." "We don't know that yet," Elena said. The second day was worse. Clara developed a fever. Not high, but enough to make Elena panic. She checked for infection, examined the surgical sites, ran blood tests using a portable kit she had insisted Ryan bring. "Is it infected?" Ryan asked, his voice tight. "I don't think so," Elena said. "But we need to monitor it closely. If the fever spikes, we'll need antibiotics." Ryan paced. His phone buzzed constantly. Work emails, board meetings, business emergencies. He ignored all of it. Nothing mattered except his daughters. The nanny tried to help, but Ryan sent her away. He didn't want anyone else in the room. Just him and Elena. Just the people who understood what was at stake. By the third day, the girls were restless. The pain had subsided, but the boredom was unbearable. They couldn't play, couldn't run, couldn't do anything but sit still and wait. "When can we take them off?" Lila asked for the 100th time. "Soon, baby," Ryan said. "Very soon." Elena had set the bandage removal for noon, 72 hours post-surgery, the optimal time for the eyes to stabilize. Ryan watched the clock. 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 11 a.m. Each minute dragged. Elena prepared the room. She dimmed the lights, set up the examination equipment, laid out eye drops and gauze. "When we remove the bandages," Elena explained, "the room needs to be dark. Their eyes will be extremely sensitive to light. We'll introduce brightness gradually." Ryan nodded. He couldn't speak. His throat was too tight. 11:30 a.m. The girls were nervous. They held hands, whispered to each other. "What if it didn't work?" Sophie asked quietly. Ryan's chest ached. "Then we'll figure out what to do next. But let's not think about that right now." 11:45 a.m. Elena washed her hands, put on gloves, checked her tools one last time. Ryan's hands shook. He shoved them in his pockets. Noon. "It's time," Elena said. Ryan's heart pounded so hard he thought it might explode. Elena positioned Sophie in the examination chair first. Ryan stood beside her, gripping the armrest. "Okay, Sophie," Elena said gently. "I'm going to remove the bandages now. Keep your eyes closed until I tell you to open them. Understand?" Sophie nodded. Elena carefully unwrapped the gauze, and layer by layer, slowly, methodically. Ryan held his breath. The last piece came off. Sophie's eyes were closed, swollen, red. But the surgical sites looked clean. "Good," Elena murmured. "No signs of infection. Now, Sophie, I want you to open your eyes very slowly. Just a tiny bit. Don't force it." Sophie's eyelids fluttered. She squinted, winced. "It's bright," Sophie whispered. Ryan's heart stopped. "Bright." She said bright. That meant she saw light. "That's good," Elena said, her voice shaking slightly. "That's very good. Now close them again. Let's try Clara." Ryan's legs felt weak, light. Sophie could see light. Clara's bandages came off next. Same process, same careful unwrapping. Open your eyes slowly, Clara. Clara squinted. Daddy? I'm here, baby. I see something, Clara said, her voice filled with wonder. It's blurry, but I see something. Ryan's eyes burned. He blinked hard. Lila was last. Elena's hands trembled as she removed the final bandage. Open your eyes, Lila. Lila opened them. She blinked, looked around, and then she smiled. Colors, Lila whispered. I see colors. Ryan collapsed into a chair. His body shook. Elena covered her mouth with her hand. Tears streamed down her face. It worked. It actually worked. But Elena wasn't done. She pulled out a pen light. I need to test their vision properly, see how much they can actually see. She held up fingers, asked the girls to count. Started with Sophie. How many fingers, Sophie? Sophie squinted. 2? Correct. Clara? 3. Yes. Lila? 4. Elena's hands shook. She tested their peripheral vision, their depth perception, their ability to track movement. All 3 girls responded. Not perfectly. Their vision was blurry, limited, but it was there. They can see, Ryan whispered. They can actually see. Elena nodded, unable to speak. Ryan stood up. He walked over to his daughters, knelt down in front of them. Girls, he said, his voice breaking, can you see me? Sophie reached out, touched his face. You're fuzzy, but I see you. Clara giggled. You have a nose. Lila stared at him. You're crying, Daddy. Ryan laughed through his tears. Yeah, baby, I am. The girls reached for him. He pulled them into his arms, held them tight. Elena watched from across the room. Her shoulders shook. She had done it. She had saved them. She had finally saved someone. Ryan looked up at her. Thank you, he mouthed. Elena smiled through her tears. But the moment didn't last. Because Sophie suddenly pulled away from Ryan, and she looked around the room. Her eyes landed on Elena. And then she did something Ryan didn't expect. She climbed out of his arms, walked across the room, and wrapped her arms around Elena's legs. Thank you, Sophie whispered. Thank you for the light. Clara and Lila followed. All 3 girls clung to Elena, not to their father, to the woman who had saved them. Ryan stood alone, watching. His daughters could finally see, but they weren't looking at him. Ryan had spent $3 million and risked everything to give his daughters sight, and they ran past him to hug the homeless woman who made it happen. He stood frozen, his arms still outstretched, empty. Sophie, Clara, and Lila clung to Elena like she was their mother. They buried their faces in her ragged coat. They whispered thank yous over and over. They didn't let go. Elena looked at Ryan over their heads. Her expression was conflicted, guilty. She gently tried to pull away. Girls, she said softly, you should go to your father. He's the one who made this possible. But the girls didn't move. We want to stay with you, Clara said. Ryan's chest tightened. He should have felt joy, relief, victory. Instead, he felt hollow, like he had won the battle but lost something else entirely. It's okay, Ryan said, his voice strained. Let them stay. Elena met his eyes. She understood. This wasn't jealousy. This was grief. Ryan had fought for 3 years to save his daughters. And in the end, someone else became their hero. The girls finally released Elena. They turned to Ryan, blinking in the dim light. Their vision was still blurry, still adjusting, but they could see shapes now. Colors. Movement. Daddy, Sophie said. Can we go outside? I want to see the sky. Ryan's throat closed. Of course, baby. Anything you want. They left the surgical suite that afternoon. Ryan had rented a beachfront villa in Miami Beach. Private, secluded. The girls needed time to adjust before returning to New York. The drive was surreal. Sophie, Clara, and Lila pressed their faces against the car windows. They gasped at buildings, trees, cars. Everything was new. Everything was overwhelming. "What's that?" Lila pointed at a billboard. "An advertisement," Ryan said. "What's that?" "A stoplight." "What's that?" "A palm tree." The questions never stopped. Ryan answered each one patiently. But inside, he was breaking. Because Elena sat beside him in the front seat, and the girls kept directing their questions to her instead. "Doctora Elena, what color is that?" "Dr. Elena, why is the sky blue?" "Dr. Elena, can we see the ocean?" Elena answered gently, kindly, but Ryan saw the discomfort in her posture. She didn't want to replace him. She didn't want to be their savior. But she was. They arrived at the villa. The girls stumbled out of the car, overwhelmed by the brightness. Elena had given them sunglasses, dark lenses to protect their healing eyes. They looked like tiny celebrities. "Stay close," Ryan called. "Don't run." But they didn't listen. They ran toward the beach, squealing, laughing, falling in the sand because they still couldn't judge distance properly. Ryan chased after them. Elena followed. The ocean stretched endlessly before them, blue and vast and sparkling. The girls stood at the edge, staring. "It's so big," Sophie whispered. "Can we touch it?" Clara asked. Ryan nodded. "Go ahead." They ran into the water, splashed, screamed with delight. Ryan watched, his heart aching. This was the moment he had dreamed of for 3 years, and it was perfect. Except it wasn't. Because he had imagined this moment differently. He had imagined his daughters running to him, hugging him, thanking him. Instead, they ran back to Elena. "Did you see us?" Lila shouted. "Did you see?" Elena smiled. "I saw." Ryan turned away. He walked down the beach alone. Elena noticed. She said something to the girls, then followed him. "Ryan," she called. He stopped but didn't turn around. Elena caught up. She stood beside him, staring at the ocean. "They don't understand," she said quietly. "They're just children. They don't know what you sacrificed." "It's not about that," Ryan said. "Then what is it about?" Ryan exhaled. "I spent 3 years believing I failed them. 3 years thinking I wasn't enough, that my money wasn't enough, that my connections weren't enough, that I wasn't enough. You did everything. And it wasn't enough," Ryan interrupted. "You did in 5 minutes what I couldn't do in 3 years. You saw what I missed. You saved them when I couldn't." Elena shook her head. "That's not true. You saved them. You took the risk. You trusted me. You made this happen." "They don't see it that way," Ryan said bitterly. "They see you as the hero, not me." Elena was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "My daughter used to look at me the same way, like I could fix anything, like I was invincible. And then I failed her, and she stopped looking at me altogether." Ryan turned to face her. "I'm sorry." "Don't be," Elena said. "I'm telling you this because I know what it feels like to lose that. To have your child look at you with disappointment, with fear. Your daughters don't look at you that way, Ryan. They look at you with love. They just don't understand yet what you did for them." "When will they understand?" "When they're older," Elena said. "When they have children of their own. When they realize what it means to sacrifice everything for someone you love." Ryan looked back at the girls. They were building sandcastles, laughing, living. "I should be grateful," Ryan said. "They can see. That's all that matters." "But it still hurts," Elena said. Ryan nodded. Yeah, it does. They stood in silence. The waves crashed. The sun beat down. And for the first time since the surgery, Ryan allowed himself to feel the full weight of his emotions. Relief, joy, and grief, loss, all tangled together. Elena placed a hand on his shoulder. You're a good father, Ryan. Don't forget that. Ryan didn't respond. He wasn't sure he believed her. That night, Ryan put the girls to bed. They were exhausted, overstimulated. Their eyes hurt from all the new input, but they were happy. Daddy, Sophie said as he tucked her in, will Dr. Elena stay with us? Ryan's stomach dropped. She has her own life, sweetheart. But I want her to stay, Clara said. She's nice. She saved us, Lila added. We need her. Ryan forced a smile. She'll visit, I promise. But inside, he knew the truth. Elena didn't belong in his world. She was a homeless woman, a former doctor, a broken soul who had found redemption in his daughter's eyes. She would leave, eventually, and the girls would forget her. Or maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they would remember Elena forever as the woman who gave them light. And Ryan would always be the father who stood in the background. He kissed each of them goodnight, turned off the lights, and closed the door. Elena was waiting in the hallway. They asked about you, Ryan said. Elena smiled sadly. I heard. They want you to stay. I can't, Elena said. You know that. Why not? Ryan asked. I can pay you, give you a place to live. You could work for me, be their doctor, their what? Elena interrupted. Their surrogate mother? Ryan, that's not fair to them. Or to you. I don't care about fair, Ryan said desperately. I care about them being happy. Elena stepped closer. Her eyes were firm. They'll be happy, with or without me, because they have you, and that's enough. Ryan wanted to believe her, but he didn't. Elena disappeared on the fourth morning, and Ryan woke up to find his daughters crying at the empty breakfast table, asking where their hero had gone. He had fallen asleep on the couch, exhausted from days of stress and sleepless nights. When he opened his eyes, the villa was too quiet. Girls, he called. No answer. Panic hit him instantly. He rushed to their bedroom. Empty. The beds were made. Their sunglasses were gone. Sophie? Clara? Lila? He found them in the kitchen, sitting at the table, staring at an empty chair, tears streaming down their faces. Where's Dr. Elena? Sophie asked. Ryan's stomach sank. He looked around, checked the guest room, the bathroom, the patio. Elena's things were gone. Her tattered notebook, her coat, everything. She had left. No note, no goodbye, just gone. She had to go, Ryan said, kneeling beside the girls. She had things to do. But she didn't say goodbye, Clara sobbed. Why didn't she say goodbye? Ryan had no answer. He pulled them close. I don't know, baby, I don't know. Lila pushed him away. Go find her. Bring her back. I can't. Yes, you can, Lila shouted. You're rich. You can do anything. Bring her back. Ryan felt like he'd been punched. His 4-year-old daughter was screaming at him, blaming him for something he didn't do. She left because she wanted to, Ryan said gently. I can't force her to stay. Sophie wiped her eyes. Did we do something wrong? Ryan's heart shattered. No, sweetheart, you didn't do anything wrong. Dr. Elena she's been through a lot. Sometimes people need to be alone. But the girls didn't understand. They cried all morning, refused to eat, refused to play. They just sat by the window, waiting for Elena to come back. She didn't. Ryan tried to distract them, took them to the beach, bought them ice cream, let them watch cartoons on the big TV. Nothing worked. By evening, Ryan was desperate. He called Elena's phone, the number she had given him for emergencies. It rang and went to voicemail. "Elena, it's Ryan. The girls are asking about you. They're upset. Please, just call me back. Let me know you're okay." He hung up, stared at his phone. No response. That night, Ryan sat alone on the patio. The ocean was dark. The stars were bright. He felt like a failure again. He had given his daughters sight, but he had lost their trust. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "I'm sorry. Tell the girls I'm proud of them. Don't look for me." Ryan's jaw clenched, and he immediately called the number. It went straight to voicemail. He texted back, "Why did you leave?" No response. He texted again, "They need you." Nothing. "Please, just come back for one day. Say goodbye properly." Still nothing. Ryan threw his phone on the table, ran his hands through his hair. Elena had saved his daughters and then abandoned them. Why? The answer came 2 days later. Ryan was packing to return to New York when his phone rang. Unknown caller. He answered immediately. "Elena?" "No," a male voice said. "This is Detective Marcus Chen, Miami PD. I'm calling about Elena Novak." Ryan's blood ran cold. "What happened? Is she okay?" "She's fine," Detective Chen said. "But we need to ask you some questions. Can you come to the station?" Ryan's heart pounded. "What is this about?" "Just come to the station, Mr. Sullivan. Oh, please." Ryan left the girls with the nanny and drove to the police station. His mind raced. What had Elena done? Why were the police involved? Detective Chen met him in an interrogation room, mid-40s, serious expression. He gestured to a chair. "Sit." Ryan sat. "What's going on?" Chen slid a folder across the table. "Do you know this woman?" Ryan opened the folder. A photo of Elena, younger, cleaner, smiling. It was her hospital ID photo from Mount Sinai. "Yes," Ryan said. "She performed surgery on my daughters." Chen's eyebrows raised. "Surgery? Where?" Ryan hesitated. "A private facility, in Coral Gables." "Did you verify her credentials?" "She showed me her ID. She used to work at Mount Sinai. She's a pediatric ophthalmologist." Chen leaned back. She was a pediatric ophthalmologist. Her medical license was revoked 8 years ago. Ryan's stomach dropped. What? Elena Novak lost her license after a surgery went wrong. Her daughter died. There was an investigation, negligence, malpractice. The hospital settled out of court. She was barred from practicing medicine. Ryan couldn't breathe. That's not... She told me her daughter died from meningitis. She did, Chen said. 2 years after the surgery. But the surgery is what started everything. Elena blamed herself. She spiraled, lost her husband, lost her home, started living on the streets. Ryan's hands shook. She saved my daughters. The surgery worked. Maybe, Chen said. Or maybe you got lucky. Do you understand what you did, Mr. Sullivan? You let an unlicensed doctor perform surgery on your children in an unregulated facility. If something had gone wrong, Mish, you would be facing criminal charges. And so would she. Ryan's mind spun. Why are you telling me this? Because Elena turned herself in this morning, Chen said. She confessed to practicing medicine without a license. She's being held pending arraignment. Ryan stood up. Where is she? You can't see her. I don't care. Where is she? Chen sighed. Holding cell B. But Mr. Sullivan. Ryan was already gone. He found Elena 20 minutes later. She was sitting on a metal bench in a small cell, still wearing her ragged clothes. Her head was down. Elena, Ryan said. She looked up. Her eyes were red. You shouldn't be here. Why did you turn yourself in? Because I broke the law, Elena said simply. I practiced medicine without a license. I put your daughters at risk. I deserve to be here. Ryan gripped the bars. You saved them. I got lucky, Elena said. If something had gone wrong, those girls would be dead, and it would be my fault. Again. But nothing went wrong, Ryan insisted. They can see. They're healthy. You did everything right. Elena shook her head. I did everything wrong, Ryan. I let my guilt control me. I let my need for redemption cloud my judgment. I shouldn't have operated. I should have referred you to someone licensed, someone qualified. No one else would help me, Ryan said desperately. You were my last chance. Then you should have accepted that, Elena said quietly. Some things can't be fixed. Some outcomes can't be changed. I learned that the hard way. Ryan's voice broke. The girls are asking for you. Elena closed her eyes. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Tell them I'm sorry. Come back, Ryan begged. I'll hire the best lawyers. I'll pay your bail. I'll fix this. You can't fix this, Elena said. And I don't want you to. I need to face what I did. What you did was save 3 children, Ryan said. Elena met his eyes. And endanger them in the process. That's the part you're not seeing, Ryan. I got lucky. But luck isn't enough. It was never enough. A guard appeared. Time's up. Ryan didn't move. Please, Elena, don't do this. Elena stood up, walked to the bars, placed her hand over his. Take care of them, she whispered. And tell them I'm proud of them. The guard pulled Ryan away. Elena disappeared into the back of the cell. And Ryan stood there, helpless once again. Ryan had 48 hours to decide if he would testify against the woman who saved his daughters or let her rot in jail for a crime that gave his children their lives back. He sat in his lawyer's office in Manhattan. High-rise, glass windows, view of Central Park. Theodore Grant sat across from him, best defense attorney in New York, $3,000 suit, cold eyes. The prosecution is offering a deal, Theodore said. If Elena pleads guilty to practicing medicine without a license, she'll serve 18 months. No trial, no publicity, clean and simple. Ryan's jaw clenched. 18 months in prison for saving 3 children. For breaking the law, Theodore corrected. The outcome doesn't matter. She operated without a license, in an unregulated facility. That's a felony. She saved my daughters. And put them at risk, Theodore said flatly. If this goes to trial, the prosecution will argue that you and Elena endangered those children. They'll call expert witnesses, top surgeons who will testify that the procedure was reckless. The complications could have resulted in permanent damage or death. Ryan stood up, paced. But there were no complications. The surgery worked. You got lucky, Theodore said. And luck isn't a legal defense. Ryan's hands balled into fists. So, what do you want me to do? Theodore leaned back. Testify. Tell the truth. That you were desperate. That Elena convinced you she could help. That you didn't know she was unlicensed. Paint yourself as the victim. The prosecution will go easier on you. Ryan's stomach turned. That you want me to throw her under the bus. I want you to protect yourself, Theodore said. And your daughters. If you don't cooperate, the DA could come after you for child endangerment. Reckless conduct. You could lose custody. Ryan froze. What? You allowed an unlicensed doctor to perform surgery on your children, Theodore said. That's grounds for a CPS investigation. If the court decides you acted irresponsibly, your daughters could be removed from your care. Ryan felt like the floor had dropped out from under him. They wouldn't. They would, Theodore interrupted. This is New York. The system doesn't care that your daughters can see now. They care that you broke the law. And if you want to keep your family intact, you need to distance yourself from Elena Novak. Ryan sat down slowly. His mind spun, and he had fought for 3 years to save his daughters. And now the system wanted to punish him for succeeding. What if I don't testify? Ryan asked. Then Elena goes to trial, Theodore said, and loses. Without your testimony, she has no defense. The evidence is clear. She operated without a license. She confessed. She's done. And if I do testify? Then maybe the judge shows leniency, Theodore said. Maybe Elena gets probation instead of prison. Maybe this all goes away quietly. But only if you cooperate. Ryan looked out the window. Central Park stretched below. The same park where he had met Elena. The same park that had changed everything. I need time, Ryan said. You don't have time, Theodore replied. The arraignment is tomorrow. You need to decide now. Ryan left the office without answering. He went home. The penthouse felt empty. The girls were with their nanny, laughing, playing, seeing. They had been asking about Elena every day. When was she coming back? Why did she leave? Could they visit her? Ryan had lied, told them Elena was traveling, that she would return soon. He couldn't tell them the truth, couldn't tell them their hero was in jail. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He sat in the nursery, the same room where his daughters had stumbled into walls for 3 years, the same room where he had made a promise to fix them. He had kept that promise. But at what cost? His phone buzzed. A text from Theodore. DA needs your answer by morning. Testify or don't. Choose. Ryan stared at the message. His thumb hovered over the keyboard. Then he heard a voice behind him. Daddy? He turned. Sophie stood in the doorway, hair messy, and eyes half open. She could see him. Even in the dark, her vision was getting stronger every day. What's wrong, baby? Ryan asked. Sophie walked over, climbed into his lap. You look sad. Ryan's throat tightened. I'm just tired. Is it about Dr. Elena? Ryan's breath caught. What makes you say that? Because you're always sad when we talk about her, Sophie said. Did she do something bad? Ryan didn't know how to answer. How do you explain to a 4-year-old that the woman who saved her is being punished for it? Dr. Elena made a mistake, Ryan said carefully. And now she has to face the consequences. Sophie frowned. But she helped us. She made us see. I know, Ryan whispered. But sometimes helping people isn't enough. Sophie looked at him with those bright, seeing eyes. Are you going to help her? Ryan's chest collapsed. And I don't know if I can. You helped us, Sophie said. You can help her too. Ryan pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. She was right. He had moved mountains to save his daughters. He could do the same for Elena. But should he? The next morning, Ryan stood outside the courthouse. Media trucks lined the street. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. The story had leaked. Billionaire's children undergo illegal surgery. Homeless doctor arrested. It was everywhere. Ryan pushed through the crowd. Theodore was waiting inside. Did you decide? Theodore asked. Ryan looked at the courtroom doors. Beyond them, Elena sat in handcuffs, waiting, alone. Yeah, Ryan said. I decided. He walked into the courtroom. Elena was at the defense table. She looked small, fragile, broken. She saw Ryan. Their eyes met. She shook her head slightly. Don't do this. But Ryan was done listening to fear. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The people versus Elena Novak, the clerk announced, practicing medicine without a license. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, the people call Ryan Sullivan to the stand. Ryan walked forward, placed his hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. The prosecutor approached. Mr. Sullivan, did you know that Elena Novak was unlicensed when she operated on your daughters? Ryan looked at Elena. She was crying silently. He looked at the prosecutor, at the judge, at Theodore, who was shaking his head. And then Ryan said something no one expected. No, I didn't know she was unlicensed. But even if I had known, I would have let her operate anyway. The courtroom erupted. The judge banged his gavel. Theodore looked like he might have a heart attack. Ryan didn't care. My daughters were blind, Ryan continued. Every licensed doctor in this country told me there was no hope. Elena was the only one who saw the truth, the only one brave enough to try. She didn't endanger my daughters. She saved them. And if that's a crime, then I'm guilty too. The prosecutor's face turned red. Your Honor, I move to... Save it, the judge interrupted. He looked at Ryan. Mr. Sullivan, you realize what you just admitted? Yes, Ryan said, and I don't care. Punish me if you want, but don't punish her for doing what every other doctor was too afraid to do. The judge leaned back, studied Ryan, then looked at Elena. This case is adjourned, the judge said. I need time to review the testimony. The gavel banged. Ryan stepped down. Theodore grabbed his arm. Do you have any idea what you just did? Theodore hissed. Ryan pulled away, walked over to Elena. She was still crying. Why did you do that? She whispered. Ryan smiled. Because someone once told me not to let fear win. The judge took 3 days to make his decision. And in those 72 hours, Ryan Sullivan learned that telling the truth could cost him everything he had left. Child Protective Services showed up at his penthouse on day 1. 2 caseworkers, badges, clipboards, cold expressions. Mr. Sullivan, we need to speak with you about your daughters. Ryan's blood ran cold. What about them? We've received a report that you endangered their welfare by allowing an unlicensed medical practitioner to perform surgery. We're here to conduct a welfare check. Ryan's hands shook. My daughters are fine. They're healthy. The surgery worked. That's not the point, the lead caseworker said. The point is you put them at risk. We need to assess whether they're safe in your care. They interviewed the nanny, examined the girls, asked invasive questions, took photos, made notes. Sophie, Clara, and Lila were confused, scared. Daddy, why are these people here? Clara whispered. It's okay, baby, Ryan said, though his voice was shaking. Just answer their questions. After 2 hours, the caseworkers left, but not before delivering a warning. We'll be filing a report. If the judge rules against you, we may need to remove the children from your custody pending further evaluation. The door closed. Ryan collapsed on the couch. His worst fear was coming true. He had saved his daughter's sight only to lose them completely. Day 2 was worse. Ryan's business partners called an emergency board meeting. They had seen the news. Billionaire admits to illegal medical procedure. The headlines were everywhere. This is a PR nightmare, Marcus Weinberg said. CFO Ryan's oldest friend, or so he thought. We need to distance the company from this, another board member added. Ryan, you need to step down. Ryan stared at them. Step down? Temporarily, Marcus clarified. Until this blows over. Your judgment is being questioned. Investors are nervous. We can't have the CEO of a $12 billion hedge fund facing criminal charges. I'm not facing charges, Ryan said through gritted teeth. Elena is. You testified that you would have broken the law knowingly. Marcus shot back. That makes you culpable. You're a liability. Ryan stood up. Yeah, I saved my daughters. And endangered your company? Marcus said coldly. Step down voluntarily or we'll vote you out. Ryan looked around the table. Faces he had known for years, people he had made rich, people he thought were loyal. Not one of them met his eyes. Fine, Ryan said quietly. I'll step down. He walked out, left his keys, his access card, everything. 12 years of building an empire, gone in 12 minutes. Day 3 was the worst. Ryan received a call from his ex-wife, Emily, the woman who had abandoned him and the girls 3 years ago. The woman who couldn't handle having blind daughters. I saw the news, Emily said. Her voice was sharp, accusing. What the hell were you thinking? I was thinking about saving our daughters, Ryan replied. By letting some homeless woman cut into them? Emily's voice rose. Are you insane? She wasn't just some homeless woman, she was a doctor. An unlicensed doctor, Emily shouted. Do you know what you've done? CPS is investigating. The media is having a field day. You've made us look like monsters. Us? Ryan laughed bitterly. There is no us, Emily. You left, remember? You couldn't handle the pressure. You walked away. And now I'm coming back, Emily said coldly. I'm filing for custody. Full custody. Those girls are not safe with you. Ryan's world stopped. You can't. I can, and I will. My lawyer's drawing up the papers now. See you in court, Ryan. She hung up. Ryan sat in silence, staring at his phone. In 3 days, he had lost his company, his reputation, and now his daughters. All because he told the truth. That night, Ryan sat alone in the dark penthouse. The girls were asleep. The nanny was gone. It was just him. His phone buzzed. A text from Theodore. Judge scheduled ruling for tomorrow, 9 a.m. Be there. Ryan didn't respond. He thought about running, taking the girls and disappearing, flying to another country, starting over. But he couldn't, because running would prove everyone right. That he was reckless, irresponsible, dangerous, so he would face the judge, and whatever came next. The courtroom was packed the next morning. Media, spectators, Elena's supporters, Ryan's critics. Ryan sat in the front row. Elena was at the defense table. She looked worse than before, thinner, paler. She turned and saw him, mouthed 2 words, I'm sorry. Ryan shook his head. Don't be. The judge entered. Everyone stood. Be seated, the judge said. He looked tired. This case had clearly weighed on him. I've reviewed the testimony, the judge began. I've consulted with medical experts. I've examined the evidence. And I've reached a decision. The courtroom held its breath. Elena Novak operated without a license. That is indisputable. And under normal circumstances, I would have no choice but to impose the maximum penalty. Elena's lawyer closed her eyes. However, the judge continued, these are not normal circumstances. 3 children who were told they would never see are now sighted. Medical experts I consulted confirmed that the surgeries were performed with precision and care. The outcomes were successful. Lives were changed. Ryan's heart pounded. That being said, the judge's tone hardened. The law exists for a reason. We cannot allow unlicensed individuals to practice medicine regardless of outcome. To do so would set a dangerous precedent. Ryan's hope flickered and died. Therefore, The judge said, I am sentencing Elena Novak to 2 years probation. She will perform 500 hours of community service. She will pay a fine of $50,000, and she is permanently barred from practicing medicine in any capacity. Elena exhaled. Relief washed over her face. However, the judge turned to Ryan. Mr. Sullivan, your testimony was both brave and foolish. You admitted to knowingly endangering your children. While I understand your desperation, I cannot condone your actions. Ryan stood. Your Honor, I'm not finished, the judge snapped. I'm referring this case to Child Protective Services for further investigation. They will determine whether your daughters remain in your custody. Ryan's legs nearly gave out. This court is adjourned. The gavel banged. People rushed forward. Reporters shouted questions. Elena was led away by her lawyer. Ryan stood frozen. Theodore appeared beside him. We need to prepare for the CPS hearing. It's in 2 weeks. Ryan didn't respond. He just walked out. Outside, the media swarmed. Cameras, microphones, questions. Mr. Sullivan, do you regret your decision? Are you worried about losing your daughters? Was it worth it? Ryan stopped, turned to face them. Yes, he said simply. It was worth it. And he meant it, because 3 blocks away, in a small apartment, 3 little girls were playing with toys they could finally see. And that was worth everything. The CPS hearing was in 6 hours, when Ryan Sullivan realized that the biggest battle wasn't proving his daughters could see. It was proving they still needed him. He sat across from Emily in the family court waiting room. She looked different. Put together. Designer suit. Perfect makeup. Like she hadn't abandoned her family 3 years ago. Her lawyer sat beside her. Expensive, confident, smug. This doesn't have to be difficult, Emily's lawyer said. Just agree to supervised visitation. Let Mrs. Sullivan have primary custody. No one needs to get hurt here. Ryan's jaw clenched. My daughters are not a negotiation. Your daughters are at risk, Emily said coldly. You proved that when you let a homeless woman operate on them. That homeless woman gave them their sight, Ryan shot back. Where were you when they needed help? Where were you when they were crying themselves to sleep? Where were you, Emily? Emily's face reddened. I was dealing with my own pain. Not everyone is as strong as you think you are, Ryan. You abandoned them, Ryan said quietly. And now you want them back because it's convenient? Because they're fixed now? I want them back because you're unfit, Emily snapped. And after today, everyone will see it. The courtroom doors opened. A clerk appeared. We're ready. Ryan stood. His hands trembled. Theodore appeared beside him. Remember, Theodore whispered. Stay calm. Answer honestly. Don't let them provoke you. They entered the courtroom, smaller than the criminal court, more intimate, but somehow more terrifying. Judge Patricia Morrison presided. 50s, sharp eyes, known for being fair but tough. When the CPS caseworker testified first, presented her findings, photos, interview notes, medical records. Mr. Sullivan allowed an unlicensed practitioner to perform invasive surgery on 3 minors, she said. While the outcome was positive, the risk was substantial. We believe this demonstrates poor judgment and warrants further investigation. Emily's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client left the marriage during a difficult time. She's sought therapy. She's stable now. She's prepared to provide a safe, nurturing environment for the children. Judge Morrison looked at Emily. Mrs. Sullivan, why did you leave? Emily stood, dabbed her eyes. I was overwhelmed, Your Honor. Seeing my daughters struggle every day, knowing I couldn't help them. It broke me. I made a mistake. I should have stayed. But I'm here now. I want to make it right. Ryan wanted to scream. She was performing, playing the victim. "Mr. Sullivan," Judge Morrison said. "Your turn." Ryan stood. His voice was steady. "Your Honor, I understand why this looks bad. I took a risk, a huge risk. But I was out of options. Every doctor I consulted said there was no hope. Elena was the only person who believed my daughters could be saved, and she was right. But she was unlicensed," Judge Morrison said. "She was desperate," Ryan countered. "Just like me. We both lost everything trying to help children. The only difference is she succeeded." Judge Morrison studied him. "Do you believe you made the right choice?" Ryan didn't hesitate. "Yes, absolutely. My daughters can see now. They're happy, healthy, thriving. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing." Emily's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, that's exactly the problem. Mr. Sullivan shows no remorse, no understanding of the danger he put these children in. He would do it again. That makes him a threat." "He's not a threat," a voice called from the back of the courtroom. Everyone turned. Elena stood in the doorway. She looked different. Clean clothes, hair combed. She walked forward confidently. "What are you doing here?" Ryan whispered. "Saving you," Elena said, "like you saved me." Judge Morrison frowned. "Ms. Novak, this is highly irregular." "I know, Your Honor," Elena said, "but I need to speak, please." Judge Morrison hesitated, then nodded. "Proceed." Elena addressed the court. "Ryan Sullivan is not a threat to his daughters. He's a hero. He fought for 3 years to find help for them. He spent millions. He flew across the country. He exhausted every option. And when the system failed him, he didn't give up. He found me." "You were unlicensed," Emily's lawyer interrupted. "I was," Elena agreed. "But I was also the only person who could help. Those girls had congenital cataracts and optic nerve hypoplasia. The surgeries required were delicate, dangerous. Most surgeons wouldn't touch them because the liability was too high. But Ryan didn't care about liability. He cared about his daughters." Elena turned to Ryan. "This man sat with those girls every single night, read to them, comforted them, loved them. While their mother walked away, he stayed. And when I performed those surgeries, he was there, holding their hands, praying. He never left them, not once." Ryan's eyes burned. Elena faced the judge. "If you take those girls from him, Akarsh, you're not protecting them, you're punishing them, because Ryan Sullivan is the best father they could ever have." The courtroom was silent. Judge Morrison leaned back. "Ms. Novak, you're asking me to ignore the fact that both you and Mr. Sullivan broke the law." "No," Elena said. "I'm asking you to see that sometimes breaking the law is the only way to do what's right." Judge Morrison closed her eyes, exhaled slowly. "I'm calling a 15-minute recess," she said. "I need to think." Everyone stood. Ryan grabbed Elena's arm. "Why did you come?" he asked. "Because you stood up for me," Elena said. "Now I'm standing up for you." 15 minutes felt like 15 hours. When they returned, Judge Morrison looked exhausted. "I've made my decision," she said. "This case has been complicated. Mr. Sullivan, you made a choice that many would call reckless. But you also made a choice born out of love and desperation." Ryan held his breath. "The surgeries were successful. The children are healthy. And based on the testimony I've heard today, I believe they are loved and cared for." Ryan's heart pounded. "Therefore," Judge Morrison continued, I am dismissing the CPS case. Ryan Sullivan will retain full custody of his daughters. Ryan's knees buckled. Theodore caught him. Emily stood. Your Honor, this is Mrs. Sullivan. Judge Morrison interrupted. You abandoned your family. You don't get to come back when it's convenient. If you want a relationship with your daughters, you'll have to earn it. Through supervised visitation. Slowly, on their terms. Emily's face crumbled. Judge Morrison banged her gavel. We're done here. Ryan couldn't move and couldn't speak. Elena hugged him. You won, she whispered. We won, Ryan corrected. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed again. But this time, Ryan didn't run. He stood tall, answered questions, told his story, and then he went home. The girls were waiting. Sophie, Clara, Lila. They ran to him, tackled him, laughed. Did we win, Daddy? Sophie asked. Ryan kissed her forehead. Yeah, baby, we won. Elena stood in the doorway, watching, smiling. Thank you, Ryan said. Elena shook her head. Heroes don't always wear white coats, Ryan. Sometimes they're just fathers who refuse to give up. Ryan smiled, or doctors who refuse to stop caring. The girls noticed Elena, screamed, ran to her. She knelt down, held them. And finally, after everything, she allowed herself to believe she had earned redemption. Not because she saved 3 children, but because she had finally forgiven herself for the one she couldn't. If this story touched you, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from.